How to request a strong reference letter for your scholarship or PhD application. Ever wonder why some recommendation letters practically shout, "Pick this person," while others just get a shrug? Today, we're going to make sure your letter falls in the Shout It from the Rooftops category. Hello and welcome. If you're applying for a scholarship or a PhD program, you already know how important a reference letter can be. It's that extra voice in your application that can sing your praises or, if not done right, fall flat. In this video, we'll walk through exactly how to request a powerful, glowing reference letter, one that boosts your chances of success. We'll keep it conversational, friendly, and super practical. Let's get started. Why a strong reference letter matters. Think of a reference letter as a personal endorsement in your application. Unlike your test scores or GPA, this letter can show who you are beyond the numbers. Admissions and scholarship committees often use these letters to distinguish between candidates with similar stats. A well-written recommendation can highlight your character, work ethic, and potential in a way nothing else can. In short, it can make you stand out in a big pile of applications. On the flip side, a weak or generic letter can hurt your chances. You don't want a lukewarm "your name was in my class and did fine" type of letter. You want enthusiasm and specifics. So, how do you get that kind of letter? It starts with choosing the right person to ask. Choose the right person to be your referee. Pick someone who knows you well and thinks highly of you. It sounds obvious, but don't just ask any professor or supervisor. You want someone who can genuinely speak to your strengths. Ideally, this is a teacher, professor, mentor, or boss who has seen your work up close. Maybe they oversaw your research project, coached your team, or taught you a challenging class. They should be able to share positive stories about you. And positive doesn't mean you are perfect. Even a teacher whose class you struggled in could be great if they saw you improve and persevere. They can talk about how hardworking you are and how you handle challenges. Avoid people who barely know you. A big name or title doesn't help if they can't provide details about you. For example, the university dean who met you once at an event isn't a good choice over a teacher who saw you every day in class. Also, common sense alert: don't ask family, friends, or others who might be biased or unqualified. Admissions committees won't give those letters much weight. Match the recommender to the application. If you're applying for a PhD program, it's especially helpful to ask someone in academia, ideally someone who has a PhD themselves or is familiar with your field. They'll understand what qualities a PhD program is looking for and can speak to your ability to do research and succeed in grad school. For a scholarship, think about what the scholarship values. Is it leadership, community service, academic excellence? Choose a recommender who can highlight that aspect. For instance, for a community service scholarship, a letter from the coordinator of your volunteer program might carry more weight than one from your math teacher. Take a moment to list out a few potential referees. Who has seen you at your best? Who is enthusiastic about your goals? Those are your top candidates. Ask early, ask politely. Timing is everything. When it comes to requesting a reference letter, sooner is better. Professors and supervisors are busy people, often juggling many requests. You'll want to give them plenty of lead time. Generally, ask at least a month before the letter is due, if possible. More time is even better. Rush them with a last-minute request. My deadline is in 3 days. Can you write a letter ASAP? And you're not likely to get a very enthusiastic response. In fact, giving someone less than 2 weeks might make them less excited to help you. Respect their time, and they'll be more inclined to put effort into your letter. Also, ask in person first if you can, or via a video call or phone if you're far away. This makes the request more personal and respectful. You might say something like, "Professor Smith, I'm applying to XYZ scholarship, and I was wondering if you'd feel comfortable writing a strong letter of recommendation for me." Ask this in a friendly, face-to-face way. If they agree, follow up with a detailed email. More on that next. If you're not able to meet in person, a polite and personalized email will do. Just make sure it doesn't sound like a mass message. Use clear and courteous language. It's normal to feel a bit nervous. After all, you're asking for someone to vouch for you, but being straightforward is key. One tip: explicitly ask if they can write you a strong letter of recommendation. It might feel awkward to say, but it's important. Why? Because if they hesitate or feel lukewarm, you actually want them to have an easy out. A lukewarm, generic letter can do more harm than good to your application. Admissions committees do see bland or even negative letters sometimes, and those can sink an application. You're doing both of you a favor by giving them a chance to decline if they can't be fully positive. For example, here's a great wording you could use in an email or conversation. Do you have time, and do you feel you know me well enough to write a strong letter of recommendation for my scholarship PhD application? This phrasing is polite, and it covers your bases. It asks about their time, so you're acknowledging they're busy, and whether they know you well enough, so they can decline if they feel they can't say much. And it slips in the keyword strong, signaling that you're looking for a positive reference. If they say yes to that question, you can be fairly confident you'll get a solid letter. If they hesitate or say no, don't be discouraged. That's actually doing you a favor. It frees you up to ask someone else who can write you a better letter. And pro tip: if a potential recommender seems unsure or says something like, "Maybe you should ask someone else," take the hint gracefully. A half-hearted letter won't help you. It's much better to find another person who can enthusiastically endorse you. And if they do decline, don't take it personally. There are many reasons a person might turn down writing a letter. They might be swamped with work, or feel they don't know you well enough, or be uncomfortable comparing you if they're writing letters for multiple candidates. As one expert notes, a refusal often isn't a reflection on you at all, but rather on the letter writer's own situation or capacity. Just thank them for their time and move to your next choice. Now that you have a willing recommender, let's talk about how to make it easy for them to write that awesome letter. Make it easy. Provide all the necessary info. Once someone agrees to write your recommendation, your job is to set them up for success. The easier you make it for your recommender, the better letter you're likely to get. humc.stanford.edu, humc.stanford.edu. You can help by giving them a reference letter packet of info. Here's what to include: what you're applying for. Explain exactly what the opportunity is, e.g., the ABC Scholarship for Students in STEM, or PhD program in Chemical Engineering at XYZ University. Include a link to the program or scholarship description if possible, so they can see what it's about and what qualities are being sought. tfec.org. This helps them tailor the letter to the specific application. Your resume / CV. Attach your latest resume or CV. tfec.org. Even if they know you, they might only know one side of you. For instance, just your performance in their class. Your resume lets them see all your achievements in one place: academic results, projects, jobs, volunteer work, awards, so they can pull in impressive facts about you that they personally didn't witness. Key points to highlight. Don't be shy about guiding their focus a bit. If you know the scholarship values leadership and you were a team captain or club president, gently remind them of that. You might say, "It would be great if you could mention my work on the science club project, since leadership is a big part of this scholarship. They're probably writing many letters and will appreciate you pointing out what makes you an ideal candidate for this opportunity." tfec.org. In fact, many teachers, professors have standard templates for recommendation letters. By telling them the areas you'd love them to emphasize, you help them customize it for you. Deadline and how to submit. Clearly state when the letter is due and how to send it in. Is there an online portal? Do they need to email a PDF to an admissions office? Print and sign a hard copy on letterhead? Provide any relevant instructions. For example, you might write, "The letter should be submitted online through the link I've provided by March 1st. Also, mention any special requirements. Maybe the scholarship wants the letter to mention your financial need, or the PhD program has a form to fill out. Spell all this out so your recommender doesn't have to hunt for details. In other words, give them everything they need in one go. A concise reminder of who you are and why you're asking them, plus these materials, will make their task much easier. Some students even include a short personal statement or cover note about their goals and why they want that scholarship, PhD. This can help your recommender understand your motivations on a deeper level and reinforce what to write about. If you have a draft of your application essay or personal statement and feel comfortable sharing it, that can be golden info for them. Lastly, if there's any unusual circumstance or sensitive detail in your background that you'd like them to know, for example, maybe you had a semester with lower grades due to a family emergency, you can share that privately and ask if they might address it in the letter. Good recommenders can turn even potential negatives into positives by explaining how you overcame challenges. Of course, only share what you're comfortable with, and clarify if it's just for their context or if you're okay with them writing about it. Gentle reminders and gratitude. After you've sent off that info packet, your recommender should have what they need. Your job isn't completely done yet, though. People get busy and deadlines sneak up, so it's wise to send a polite reminder as the due date approaches. No need to nag, just a friendly nudge. For example, about a week before the deadline, send a short email. Hi, Dr. Lee. Just a friendly reminder that the recommendation letter for the ABC scholarship is due next Monday. Please let me know if there's any additional info I can provide. Thanks again for doing this. Most professors appreciate the reminder. They really do write a lot of letters, and yours could slip their mind. If the submission is electronic, a few days before might be fine. If it's a mailed letter, remind a bit earlier to account for sending time. Once your letters are in and your applications are submitted, don't forget to thank your recommenders. Writing a good letter takes time and effort, and they've done you a big favor. A sincere thank you email or a handwritten note is a wonderful gesture. You can even follow up when you hear back about your application results. For example, I wanted to share the good news that I got the scholarship. Thank you so much for your support. Your reference letter really made a difference. Even if you don't get the opportunity, you can thank them and let them know what your next plans are. Remember, your recommenders are invested in your success. They'll be happy to hear about your progress. Plus, you never know when you might ask them for another letter in the future or cross paths in your career, so keeping that relationship positive is important. A quick story: the early bird versus the last-minute scramble. Let me share a quick example. Meet Alice and Ben. Both are final-year students applying to prestigious PhD programs. Alice identified her 3 referees months in advance. She regularly visited their office hours, talked about her grad school plans, and when the time came, she asked each of them well ahead of the deadline. One professor even said, "Sure, I'd be happy to, and thanks for asking early." She followed up with emails containing her CV, draft statement of purpose, and all the submission details neatly laid out. As the deadlines approached, she sent gentle reminders. In the end, each of her recommenders wrote detailed, glowing letters full of specific praise for Alice's research skills and determination. Ben, on the other hand, procrastinated. He assumed that since he got an A in Professor Johnson's class 2 years ago, he could just shoot over an email a week before the deadline. That email read, "Hey Prof J, I need a recommendation letter for my PhD apps. Due next Friday. Can you do it? BX." You can guess what happened. Professor Johnson, who hadn't heard from Ben since the class, felt a bit put on the spot. The letter he wrote was perfunctory, basically a summary of Ben's grade and a few generic lines, because he didn't have time or information to write more. Ben's other intended recommender actually said no due to the short notice. The moral of the story? Don't be a Ben, be an Alice. Start early, communicate clearly, and give your recommenders what they need to champion you. It can literally make the difference between a so-so letter and a spectacular one. Wrapping up and final tips. By now, you have a game plan for securing an outstanding reference letter. To recap the key steps, choose the right people, folks who know you and will speak highly of you, ideally aligned with your application's focus, academic, leadership, etc. Ask early, a month or more in advance. Don't rush your recommender. Ask clearly and politely, preferably in person first, and explicitly ask if they can write a strong letter for you. humc.stanford.edu. It's okay to mention that word. Provide supporting info, give them your resume, remind them of your achievements, tell them what you're applying for, and provide submission details. The less guesswork for them, the better. Follow up with a friendly reminder before the deadline and a heartfelt thank you after. Let them know the outcome of your application. Now your call to action. If you found these tips helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more guides on acing your academic journey. Have you had any interesting experiences or challenges with getting recommendation letters? Drop a comment below and let's help each other out. And if there's any other topic you'd like us to cover, let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck with your scholarships and applications. We're rooting for you. Until next time, take care and go make your dreams happen.